So we understand that. So as I said to you, I'm recording now. Students come to the first couple of weeks is, or maybe the first or second week, is the getting to know process, and that is why I said the syllabus is not set in stone. I have a syllabus, but we are going to adjust it. I may not follow it to the T, but we will actually we'll be lifting up several of the themes and the discussions and the points and the books and the material. So you still have to go through the syllabus. However, we're not going to follow it because it's not set in stone. Having said that, I want to use the first class to get to know each of you, and also the second class. The work that's on the JTS online portal that I've asked you guys to complete, to answer the questions, about 6 or 7 questions, which are very, very important questions that we need to familiarize ourselves with as we delve into this course. 1 or 2 questions are not on there, which I realized. I checked it and I said, oh, I didn't ask. There's 1 or 2 things, but that's fine. We can get into that. But I want you to answer the question in between now and Wednesday, or before we get to the next class. I just want to know where you guys are at, your mind space, what you guys know. And what I want to do is, at the end of this course, I want to give you the same answers and see how you answer it. And see, and then it's not just for the course, it's really for you guys to look to see how you guys have evolved from the beginning of the course to the end of the course. So I want you guys to do it. You get grades, full marks once you complete it. So once you do it, you get full marks. So the completion. That's how you'll be graded for that, by completing the assignment. So it's 3 to 4 sentences. So that is for that. And as I said, I was making the point that it's important to do this because, as I said to you, we live in the 21st century. The way we think about things have evolved. In fact, you guys are doing a course called critical thinking, and critical thinking when we look at scholars today, they are reimagining the way how we view and think about things. We are rediscovering things. People's opinions are changing. Say, for example, when you look at how human beings develop, it was thought that you are fully developed as an adult by the time you get to age 21. Now they are changing that. They're saying, scientists are now saying that your frontal lobe is not developed until 26. The frontal lobe is the part of the brain that is responsible for executive thinking, for organization. So therefore, if you're not 26 years old, then there are certain expectations that we have of people, and there are certain medical and insurance policies that we now have to rethink about, and the way how we include and the expectations we have of 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds, that's changing because the science is now changing because of what we have discovered based on critical thinking, which is thinking about thinking and rethinking what was previously thought. Caribbean thought is part of that. This course is part of that. I will tell you that this course we have to be skeptics, because this course is part of post-colonial theory or post-colonial thought. And the people in this course are people who are affected by the histories that have come to create the reality of the Caribbean in relation to everywhere else. We are part of the Black experience. Of course, we say that we're out of many one people. When you look at the Caribbean and Jamaica in particular, the motto is out of many one people. But of course, we know that the predominant race is people from Afro-Caribbean descent or African descent. Of course, that is not changing because now the Urban Indian Heritage Society and other scholars are doing research that suggests and that challenges Africa to Africa, Arawaks to Africans, and challenge the theory that says Caribbean people especially in the West Indies and certain Caribbean islands like Jamaica and Barbados and so on, majority of the natives were killed out. There was a genocide. People are now, so therefore, when you look at the identity and the origin of the people of the Caribbean, in the West Indies particularly, Majority of them hail from, they would say Ghana or Senegambia or from Africa, but now they're saying, well, we have stick a pin. Some of us have some kind of connection to the original peoples that were here. And of course, then you start to ask, why would you say that? Of course, because when you start to study um, what pertains before the transatlantic slavery, you will now question, where did the people that set that Columbus used as slaves, where did they get them from when we did not have an active transatlantic slave trade going on before, prior to the 1600s? Um, and we know that they had, Columbus had freed, the Spanish had freed some of the slaves when the British had invaded Jamaican parts of the Caribbean. But anyways, but we start to rethink. Critical thinking is very important to the study of Caribbean thought. But we are going to put it into perspective and into context. Was asked to teach critical thinking this semester, but I decided against it because I don't have time. My plate is full, but I would have loved to teach the course, but I think both of you guys have probably been exposed to critical thinking. However, we will talk briefly about what is critical thinking. The first four classes, we are not next, probably not next week. We'll begin to talk about the critical thinking, stemming from a discussion about what is the Caribbean. And when you ask yourself what is the Caribbean, you're asking yourself about societies. When you study society, you want to ask the question, in whose interest is the society constructed or made up? Okay, in whose interest? Because we say, like Kant, history is a result of the varieties of human natures and circumstances. Say, for example, we talk about, when you study the Caribbean, we say is an invention, because we say it is an invention because if the Europeans did not come to the Caribbean, the peoples that we have in the Caribbean today, would the Caribbean look like what it looked like today? Of course not. It would not. Okay. If the Caribbean, probably not. So we say it is an invention, stemming from the transatlantic, stemming from colonization, stemming from European influence. So it is an invention created in the master's eyes, created in the master's mold. Yet we say we lack competition. Why is that the case? Of course, we're talking about, we have to then look at the dynamics of society. When you study society, you're studying life. We say life is about people and how people relate. Yet life is what you make it or allow others to make of it for you. That is an important question. When you talk about what is true, when you talk about metaphysically what is really real or ultimately real about anything, we are asking a very important question, because as we say in certain Christian churches, what you see is not what you get. And of course, Descartes asked the question, cogito ergo sum. Well, he comes up with that pro, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. And by coming up with that particular conclusion, we are left with the reality that we are only certain of what is in our own minds. So when we study Caribbean, we are really delving into society and what really is the Caribbean. We say it is an invention of the 21st century, an invention that has been maligned, an invention. We have had successes, or we have had mixed successes, some failures or not. When you turn to Haiti, we say that Haiti falls short of a failed state. Maybe it is a failed state. Look at what's going on in Cuba. And I may ask the question, what it is that separates Cuba and Haiti from all the other Caribbean islands? We may ask ourselves those questions. But the course is really going to be very deep, very exciting. It won't, you may, just so you know, don't think that it's going to confuse you. However, it may pose some challenge because we're going to do some heavy lifting. But the thing is, we will unpack each week as we go on. Every week we'll unpack and unpack and unpack. But welcome to Caribbean Thought, and I think we have everybody in the class. We have most people in the class. Let me see where we are now. 17 people. Good. Welcome, guys. I'm Renaldo, your professor. What we're gonna do as we begin the class today is I want to get to know each of you. But before I get to know each of you, I have a question for you guys. Okay. I said I put together a brain teaser. Okay. And I'm gonna ask you some questions. First question I will ask you guys is this. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Anybody want to answer that question?
Sir, is that that's a riddle?
Yeah, it's a trivia question. I wanted to get the juices running. Yes.
I think it's steps.
Who said that? Boy, you guys are on it. It's okay. It's really footsteps.
Yes. Okay, footsteps.
Who answered that question? Who was that just now? Vivina. You've heard this one before. How you get that one so easy?
Because I was pondering and then it just came to me for some reason.
Oh, I have another one for you
I didn't
guys.
say the footsteps, but steps.
I mean steps, but we'll take that one. Okay, I have another one for you. David's father has 3 sons. David's father has 3 sons. Snap, crackle. What's the third?
David.
Okay, you guys are right on the money. Who said David? You guys are right on the money. Who said David just now? Kemery. Okay, Kemery. All right. Okay, okay, it gets harder. Okay, let's see if you know this one. What is more useful when it is broken? What is more useful when it is broken? Anybody?
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it something you can eat?
Egg. egg.
It's egg.
What is going on? You guys are too good. Who answered that question just now? Who was that just now?
Yeah.
I asked if it's something you could eat.
I didn't even say yes or no. I said I didn't want to say yes. I didn't want to give away the answer.
Somebody else said egg, but I was just asking.
I've heard it before, sir. This is Avril, but I've heard it before.
You've heard that one? Okay, all right. Listen to this one, and this is you. Okay, you throw an egg against the wall. It doesn't break. It doesn't fall. How come? You throw an egg against the wall. It doesn't break. It doesn't break. It doesn't fall. How come? So Ania said, with the question we asked about.
It's hard boil.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Before I give up the answer. Okay, good. This one is all right. I like this one. But earlier, Sania says, I was going to say carbon footprints. Okay. Carbon footprints. All right, Sania. I love that one.
No, wait, sir. Repeat the question.
You throw an egg.
If you throw an egg against the wall and it doesn't break and it not fall, how come?
How come? Yeah. You throw an egg against the wall, it doesn't break, it doesn't fall. How come? Anybody else? Anybody? What? You guys are stuck on this one. Come on, yo.
Sir, just give us 2 minutes.
All right, okay. All right, fine. I give you 2 minutes.
No. It's not like, yeah, assume. I'm not sure.
Okay. Somebody, Doreen said boiled eggs. Oh, Doreen. Well, yeah, I did speak with Doreen earlier. Okay, 1 more minute. 30 more seconds. Because I said I want to let you guys out early today. And then on Friday, we do the full 3 hours.
Sir, Friday or Wednesday?
Hey, that's what I'm going to ask. Sir,
Or you mean
Friday?
Wednesday?
Say it
Yes.
again. Sorry,
Did you
Wednesdays.
say
Oh,
yes?
Wednesdays. Thank you. Yes, sorry about that. Because initially the class was supposed to be Wednesday and Friday, but we switched it to Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, so yes. All right, 10 seconds. Oh, okay. Ready for the answer? What's the antecedent of it?
Jeez.
The antecedent means, I mean, when you, I mean, okay. Oh, but I asked this. I asked it for this is a very good segue or transition point because I said I'm going to ask you a question. How much can you rely on your senses? How much can we rely on our senses? Avril, I got a text. No, but Avril Morgan. Okay, there's another Avril in the class. Okay, I got it. All right. Ask her to send me an email. The student who are unable to join the class today. And I said, you guys have to have a quick nominate a group leader. Okay, great. I got that, Melissa. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. In the meantime, sir, that's this class. All right, you guys, we can ask those questions. We're about to go through the syllabus quickly. But can you rely on your senses? Can you rely on your senses? Yet we have developed a kind of intellectualism to dispel and to remove any subjective biases, yet they remain. Very important. Can you rely on your senses? Say, for example, if you study philosophy and you study in philosophy 101, and they usually you're asked the question, what is the color of X? Let's say a chair. You take for granted that it's blue. I mean, but then your professor would say, no, it's every color but blue because I guess it depends on one perspective and how one is making a determination on the reality of a particular thing. Say, for example, if you study truth, you have the coherent theory of truth, the correspondence theory of truth. There's also the pragmatic theory of truth, which we call it the American truth. If the reality of a thing serves your purpose, then it's true. Therein lies the truth. Okay? Therein lies the truth. When you study, people are rethinking when Dominican Republic got their independence. In fact, if you were to study history, they are saying that people from DR and Haiti don't have, there is a grudge between the two countries, some enmity, some hatred. And it stems from a kind of history that was told to the people from DR, saying that that in 1822 up to 1848, thereabout, there was a time when Haiti had colonized the Dominican Republic. But now historians are revisiting, we call it revisionist history, are revisiting that history. Because when you start to delve into the story, people from Dominican Republic, which is the Dominican Republic is on the island of Hispaniola next to Haiti. The people from Dominican Republic, they wanted their independence. And in order to get their independence, they worked a plan with the Haitians to invade, and which led to their independence. But later down, where the Catholic Church with the European invaders concoct a plan to dispel that. And then you ask the question, who wrote the history books? When you look at the history books that we had, many of the histories, the Caribbean history and the history that we have was written by people who were not from the subaltern people who are affected by the history. They were a European history told about Caribbean people for the purposes of continuing European dominance, European hegemony. So, and we talk about when you study control, when you study power, it's important. And when you study control and power, we study the idea and the method of divide and conquer. And when the slaves came from Africa to the Caribbean, of course, they divided them up into different tribes and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to use the word tribe again. Language is important in discourse. They call them tribe back then because of who wrote the history and the books. We don't call them tribe. We call them, because when you look at study English, tribes are in a sense a secondary language. So for example, when you say, we don't call them language, we call it Creole. We don't say, people used to say third world, second world, first world when you look at countries in a political framework, but you don't say that anymore. We say the global south and the global north. When we say global south, when we talk about Caribbean and formerly developing countries, okay? But I'm making the point, a very important point here as it relates to divide and conquer. So it was very important to divide and conquer. So the history that was told about the Haitians was one that was corrupted by those who want to continue a particular hegemony. So now when you read the history books, and if you were to Google Haiti's independence, you might get two different, sorry, not Haiti, Dominican Republic independence. You might have two different or several different dates. We're going to delve into that later on in this course. We're going to talk about the issue of Haiti, what's going on in Haiti. We're going to talk about Dominican Republic and talk about this grudge. Do they have a grudge? If they have a grudge, then you have to ask, who does it serve for us to have an education that tells us that that the Haitians did what they did? But what we know is the consequences of that history is that Dominican Republic and Haitians do not get along. If their unity can bring about any kind of prosperity on the island, that is thwarted by the division, which stems from a historical lie. We will delve into that later on. But the point I'm making is, can you rely on your senses? One, and two, yet we have developed a kind of intellectualism, according to Gramsci in his prison notebook. We have developed a kind of intellectualism that appeals to a kind of logic, which is still couched in human natures, but it is in an elaborate and sophisticated and complex ways that helps to continue our human natures. Now, when we talk about human nature, what am I talking about? I say to you, according to Immanuel Kant, history is a result of the varieties of human natures and circumstances. When you read books like Homer's Iliad or Hesiod's Theogony, they give you a version of Greek history. If I ask you the question, what is Caribbean? You say, okay, I mean, I don't know how you're going to answer that question, but some people would answer it by saying the Caribbean is part of an invention as a result of a major project by the Europeans. Part of our cultures, our constitution, our economy stems from that. So the Caribbean is part of the Western world. We are part of the New World. The Americas, we're part of the Americas. We are within the Americas. So we are American, but a different kind of America. But we are part of the Americas, and the Americas is an invention of Europeans, or a kind of colonization stemming from European influence. Now, when you look at, so we are part of the Western world, we are part of the European world, or the Western world, which, and its history stems from the Roman Greco world. So when you start to study our Caribbean philosophies, our Caribbean institutions, Caribbean religions, and so on, a lot of that pays homage to the European influence. So to understand Caribbean, you may say, okay, we have to, and the invention of the Caribbean, we have to also, we cannot divorce it from history, a history that is couched in privilege, position, privilege and position, power, privilege, position, that human drive, that nature. When you so when you start to if you were to do the liberal studies or the foundations of knowledge, and especially Western societies, and when you look at societies, you can't divorce it from the civilization that the particular society is in, because the civilization has helped to facilitate a packing on of information which has come to create the Caribbean and the places and the spaces we have today. I say to you, life is about people and how people relate. When you study life, how people relate, we talk about these relationships help to determine the dynamics of society. When you study society, when you study societies and people, you're studying also the dynamics, okay, and the relationship, because the dynamics of those relationships is dependent on the position in that life or within society. But we said that the Caribbean is an invention. An invention, of course, who said that? Kamal Brathwaite said that. There's also Norman Gervin and Brian Meeks who said that in the Caribbean Reader. Now, so I'm making the point that when you study Caribbean, you can't start from the 1960s. I don't believe so, when we got independence, because we have inherited a constitution, and in Jamaica, we still pay homage to the Queen. We have our religion and the way and our attitudes towards Afro-Caribbean beliefs and our attitudes towards certain behaviors is facilitated by the brainwashing, that European influence, the colonization and so on and so forth. So you can't divorce it from the history that has come to create our dependencies and our lack. Do you start from 1962? No, you can't start from 1962. We have to go way beyond that. And then I say to you, part of this stems from a European influence. European has a lot of Greco-Roman influence. And when they start to study Greek civilization starts from Homer's Iliad, or Homer's Iliad or Hesiod's Theogony, which are the two most historical works speaking to people's understanding of Greek cultures, Greek ideology, Greek theology, so on and so forth. And when you read Homer's book that talks about Olympus and Zeus and all these gods, and it talks about a war, and it in a way it glorifies Greek, attitude, and it glorifies and exceptionalizes Greek theology and power. And it was an idea that looks at the hero as being that of a warrior. And the Persians were undisciplined, and that's why they could not defeat the Greeks. But it was a perspective written by the Greek, okay? But when you start, and then you move further to start reading Thucydides and Herodotus and all the way up, it's when you look at history and Jews for Jesus and Jews not for Jesus, by the time Jesus comes on the scene and start to advocate for the Gentiles who were excluded from the Jews, and the Jews had religion and everybody wanted to be a Jew, but you couldn't be a Jew because you have to have it by birthright, until Jesus comes on the scene and said, well, if you follow me by virtue of that relationship, then you can be a Jew. But and then, however, there are those who were privileged, who wanted to be privileged. If everybody become a Jew, then there is no privilege. So people want to protect their privilege. When you study the history of the development of humankind, you see this appeal to privilege and power and position. So then you start to look at our history today. But I ask you the question, can you rely on your senses? If I ask, okay, can you rely on your senses? I don't know if you can rely on your senses, but the question is, of course, if you throw an egg against the wall, it doesn't break, it doesn't fall. We're talking about the wall. the wall doesn't break, and the wall doesn't fall. Did you guys get that? The wall doesn't break, and it's the wall that doesn't fall. You throw an egg against the wall, it doesn't break, it doesn't fall. We are talking about the wall. It's even rhyme. You know what I mean? Did you guys get that?
Get it now?
Sir, can repeat? I didn't hear you say.
You throw an egg against the wall, it doesn't break, it doesn't fall. We are talking about the wall. Of course, the egg breaks. Of course, the egg falls. But the wall doesn't break. The wall doesn't fall because okay. But you see how our brains, and then of course I deliberately asked you a question earlier, and you all got the answer egg. But I deliberately asked that question before I asked the one about this one that had egg, so that you're forced to think about the egg when the wall was right there. But I asked
I
that
feel like a
question.
it, sir. The word
Yeah,
it. I think that's
yeah,
that's
it.
what was misleading. That's
But I
what
know I
made
don't.
it misleading. The it.
Yeah, the it. But no, actually, if I were to say, well, I mean, you might be right, but I think it's more our brains. I mean, it's our brain because to be honest, it's there before us. You throw an egg against a wall. It. Now, what is it? The antecedent of it, or if you look at pronoun, what is it talking about? It is referring to its antecedent, an egg or the wall. But we don't see the wall. Okay. Our brain, we are so locked in on the egg. I don't know what, but we are locked in on the egg. And I asked this question: how much can we rely on our senses? How much can we rely on the traditions that we have today that we used to lord over others? Um, you know, when Homer and Hesiod wrote the Iliad and the Theogony, respectively, you could, if you know what I mean. Later, probably you may not be familiar with the Iliad, and if you know about Greek mythology, and growing up in Jamaica, we weren't exposed to a lot of Greek mythology because of the education system and the system that we inherited. For some reason, there was no talk of Greek mythology, yet our cultures is a result of European influence stemming from a history that is Greco-Roman. Okay. When you start to look at Plato in the Phaedo and the conversations that Plato and Socrates was having, and their idea of death and the afterlife, then you begin to start to study the influence of that and how of that in terms of what pertains in our theological frameworks to today. Cultures is important. Later on in the course, you're going to hear me ask the question, should theology transcend culture? That's a very important question, which we will contend with in the course. Somebody already answered no, but of course, why do you say no? That's the beauty about this course, where we begin to delve into our analysis, when we begin to analyze and so on. But it's a very important question that we have to ask ourselves. Can we rely on our senses? Yet we have developed a kind of reality or culture, appealing to certain intellectualism, with that is and of itself created within a society, appealing to certain institutions to ensure a particular kind of knowledge that promotes a particular kind of privilege to maintain dynamics in society, one that is either platonic or one that is based on some other system within the Western world from a socio-political perspective, capitalistic system. Just so you know, I'm speaking general. We will be more specific as we move further in the class. Can we rely on your senses? Yet we have developed a kind of intellectualism to dispel and remove any subjectivism. Yet life remains yet our human natures remain. That's a very important question. That's a very important point I'm making. I want to make another point as we begin to think generally about this course. Um, Caribbean as an invention. Sorry, we talk about we're post-colonial, the post-colonial man. We are suspicious of history, and um, and that we must be a critic because again, history is a result of the varieties of human natures and circumstances. We will delve into that later on into this course, and that's a result, and that's said by Kant in that's a famous word from famous philosophy from Kant's logic and theory. So, having said that, what I want to do today is to begin to explore the class. What is Caribbean thought? And again, when we study societies, we are studying. We ask the question: in whose interest? In whose interest is the society developed? We may, and again, we said life is about people and how people relate. Yet, life is what you make it, or allow others to make of it for you. So we look at what's going on in Haiti and Dominican Republic, and how and how the history, this history between the history that is told to DR has created a chasm or tension between the two countries, which helps to thwart Caribbean or stall Caribbean development. Okay, very important. So that's one of the things we have to contend with in this course. Having said that, I want to begin to. I would love to get to know you guys, and ask each of you to introduce yourself. What it is that you hope to get out of this course? What's your year? Your first year, second year, third year? Um, where are you in Jamaica? Or if you are elsewhere else in the world? So at this time, I'm going to invite each of you to introduce yourself. I don't know who I'm going to begin with first, but the floor is now open. Who wants to go first? First, introduce yourself. In fact, this is what I'm going to ask you. Oh, actually, as you introduce yourself, I'm going to ask you a question. And answer the question that I ask, and then introduce yourself. The question is: a cowboy rode into town on Friday. A cowboy rode into town on Friday, and he stayed for 3 nights and rode out on Friday. How is this possible? Okay, you don't answer. Don't answer yet. What I would like each of you to do as you introduce yourself, then you provide the answer. Okay. And when you introduce yourself, just tell me your name, your name, whether you're first or second year, what's your major, and what you hope to get out of this course, and what you plan to add. Oh, but you could tell me what church you go to as well, and what you hope to get out of what it is that you do in life, or you hope to get out of studying at JTS. All right. So, who wants to go first? Each of you have
From
1
Jane.
minute. All right. Andreen, go ahead.
Yes. Sir, Friday.
Yes.
And my name is Andreen Reed Pinnock. I go to the Temple of the Testament Church of God. I live in Upper St. Andrew. I am a third, fourth year student. I do midlife guidance and counseling. I'm an administrative assistant. And what else was supposed to answer, sir?
What is it you plan to get out? What's your major again? I didn't hear that.
Guidance and counseling.
Okay, and what is it you hope to get out of this course?
From what I'm hearing, I didn't know what to hope for because I really didn't want to. Because I think it was last semester that I was signed up for this course and I got a lot of things, but I really never read this stuff. And
yeah, your name came up, and I'm like, your name is very familiar. Were you in any of my classes?
No, I wasn't. They registered me for your class. I don't know why.
Okay.
Right, and I had already had 5 courses, so I could not add this one to it. So I guess you used to send me information, and I had to be telling you I am not in the class.
Oh, come on, you still have those information, so that's good. You're ahead. That's good.
Right. No, I'm not ahead because I have not read this stuff.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Right. So
So,
I was like, what could this be? Caribbean thought? What is Caribbean thought? But no,
yes,
when you are talking about the course, I'm viewing it as a history, like a history lesson.
yeah,
So it's a little bit deeper than just history, Caribbean history. And
yes.
then I'm just open to what it has in store. So like a lot of work, and I pray that I am able to meet all those deadlines because I don't know. I don't look at the course outline yet to see how many exams and stuff yet. Not exams, but quizzes and stuff like that that you have and assignments and all of that. So that is it
Okay,
for me.
thank you for letting me know that. Yes, me the first when I just started teaching this course, I gave the students a lot of work, whole heap of work. But later on, I think we're trying to change that now. We don't want to give you guys too much work. And as you get older and stuff, you and learn exposed to reviews and what people are saying and stuff. You make adjustments. So I don't think I'm gonna kill you this semester. Um, so we will talk about the expectations for this course, but the expectations we have cut down the expectations. I did send you the syllabus. We'll go through it today quickly, but it's not going to be all of. Don't allow it to inundate you because I'm very flexible, and I think you will only have 3 assignments to turn in before. And yes, we have an exam, and there's a research paper. Um, so I think that's the two main thing is the three main thing is to come to class, the research paper, and the exam, I think. But you may have to do two or three in-class assignments. Probably one could be group. In fact, what I should do with the final is to make it a group presentation, a group thing instead of an individual research paper. I do a group research paper, so you guys work in groups, and probably submit just 2 individual pieces of paper, which will be reflection paper. But we talk about that, but later on. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Dion.
Good evening. So let me go
Hi.
and get it out the way.
Yeah, man,
Hi,
Dion.
Ronaldo.
How are you, Dion? What's
I
up?
am good.
Yeah, man.
So yes. So I don't remember the quiz question. I don't know the quiz question.
But listen, you can forget about that. You can forget
Right.
about the question.
Not
No,
bursting my
wait. The question was already answered. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The answer was Friday. So your
Okay.
question is, what is full of holes but still holds water? What is full of holes but still holds water?
I know that question and I answered before, but no, I don't remember. It's blank right now. So let somebody else answer. I'm not
All
bursting my
right, come on.
brain.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
having hear you talking about the course outline, my expectation, and I kind of ease up on you when I hear you say that. My expectation for this course is for the lecturer to just have some mercy
Yes.
on us, in terms of workload, coursework. And,
Okay.
also I want to learn more about, what this entails, because it might be something different than what we are thinking as students and, lecturers, upon their research. So just to learn more about this, that's my expectation to widen my horizon. I'm a second year social work student. I am from Portmore. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm
Right.
going to stay here because I was just in Fort Moore, and I'm from Hellshire. I'm from Hellshire, so I know
I
Fort Moore.
know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, what do you
So,
mean? Where in Fort Moore are you?
yeah, this is Marie's sister. This is Birdie's sister. Ronaldo, Ricardo,
Wow.
Ronaldo, come on.
But you guys have your screens locked. I need to see
I know.
screen.
VT, yes. And we're past church heights, grew up in the same church. And yes.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome. I am so happy that I finally am teaching somebody who who I know very well.
Yes, yes. All right.
But continue.
Okay. No, I think that was it. I thought I said everything that I needed to say.
Okay, but you didn't get the answer yet, right?
No.
Okay, okay. What do you hope to achieve from being in from actually I wanted to what it is that you hope to achieve with your degree? Okay, what's your major?
I have social work.
And what is it you hope to agree? Okay, I get it. Okay, Andrew, no worry about it. Don't worry. Okay, fine, I get it. Yeah, but what do you hope to achieve from your degree?
Wow. To know all that I didn't, know from before, to impact. So when this course is finished, when this degree, is ended and I finish and I get everything that I need to get, to impact life. What I've learned from all the 4 years that I've been, to impart it, not just to keep it to myself, to just, impart it on others. You understand? To build.
That's good. All right, very good. Or to empower others and to build. That's very good.
Right.
Part of the United Nations 20 SDG goal is to empower global South countries. Okay, so and there are various ways we can do that. It could be socioeconomic, it could be philosophical, but that's good.
Right. I was just gonna say there's so much things happening right now, social economic, and so this is where it all begins. When I achieve my degree, the change,
Yes.
how much of a change that I can make, I'll just
That's
give it
good.
all. That's my desire, passion.
I
Bring
love it.
change.
Okay, but and then so who else want to go next? And I'm not going to change the question the trivia question yet because I want to give you guys an opportunity to do. As soon as somebody gets the answer right, then we change it. But who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All
Although I
right.
can't remember everything I'm supposed to say. But my name is Viviana Douglas. Sorry, what else is somebody to answer? My major. So I'm doing social work. It is my second year as well. What I hope to achieve at the end, I hope to make a difference and hope to improve myself because with helping others, it builds you as a person as well. So I'm hoping to help others and to just self-improve. So that is what I'm really expecting. As it relates to the course, I'm just interested to learn, You're never too old to learn or too young. So I'm just hoping to receive all the information that is going to be given, and that's about it. Oh, the riddle.
Yes. Let me hear what you got.
Okay. You say something that has, so the first thing we say, it holds water, is sponge. I thought of SpongeBob.
Okay.
I thought of
Okay,
SpongeBob. I
wait.
don't know if it's right, but I thought
You are correct.
I
You
thought
are
of
correct.
SpongeBob, so
Okay, all
so
right.
it's sponge.
It is sponge. You are correct. Very good. I love it. Very, very good. So you get that one right. So I'll have to move on to something else. And I already asked you what you hope to achieve with your degree. You said you were a third or fourth year student, correct?
Second, going into the third year in August.
Second, going to third year. All right, great. Well, welcome to the Caribbean Thought, and yeah, we're looking forward to the journey. And you're V. What's your V stand for? What? Vivette?
Vivina.
Vivina. All right, Vivina. All right, who wants to go next? And I have a question for you. Who wants to go next?
Good night, sir.
Good night. Who am I talking with here now?
My name is Lansdott Sims, and I'm a first year theology student.
First year. Wait, let me ask you. Have you done critical thinking?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good. That's good. You did it last semester.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I was supposed to teach that course last semester, but I didn't get to teach it. But great, because I always want the students to have some kind of introduction to critical thinking before they come to this course. Although some students, so because this course is really within critical, in a sense, you could say that it is within critical race theory, although we don't talk about critical race theory within the Caribbean context per se, but globally, I mean, the issue of critical race theory and in the US is a major area now. It's a major discipline, where we are reimagining and rethinking about concepts, relating to race, race relations, histories, colonialism, post-colonialism, so on and so forth. But anyways, good. But go ahead. Sorry for, let me ask you a question though before you jump in. Let me give you a riddle. All right, you ready for it?
China, sir.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm trying it now.
Oh my God. Why is Europe like a frying pan? I said, oh. Why is Europe like a frying pan? Sorry, I mean, that's a very good question, because I just ask you, when you study Caribbean, where do you begin? In fact, when do you begin? And then I would say, well, we talk about the Caribbean is an invention when you think about our European influence. And now they're asking you this question. I'm asking you this question. Okay, so this is a very good question. Why is Europe like a frying pan?
I come from Africa. Come from Africa. I don't know.
Because what?
Yeah, African. I don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know yet. Well, no, that's not the answer. But okay, think about it. But give me some more about you. So you're a first year student. What's your theology major?
Yes.
Yeah, what it is that you hope to accomplish from being in this course, and what it is that you want to do with your degree.
Alright, sir. I want to from this course, sir, is basically to broaden my whole knowledge base, sir. So here's how we can further impact my general life on a day-to-day basis. So certain scenarios or certain questions I may have you can answer them, sir. Like basically I seek answers then, sir. I mean I want to look at theory more clear up, yeah?
Well, that is good. That is good. That is good. This is where you would really ask those questions, those theoretical questions that you might want to do. Say, for example, one of the things that we did last semester was the issue of obia, which was a major discussion. We had fierce debates. Some of these classes, in fact, almost all my classes are available on my YouTube channel. And I created a list called Caribbean and Pan-African Thought. And then every semester I have like Caribbean Thought semester 1, 2023. So you can see some of those classes. But some of them are long, 4 hours, 3 hours. But you can check them out. I know last semester the big thing was obia. And then the semester before that was about Haiti and so on and so forth. I don't know what this semester we're going to take up, but I still want us to consider looking at the whole issue of attitudes towards Afro Caribbean beliefs, because I'm doing a research, and I think I would love for you guys to be part of this research, because it will also help to influence you, and sorry, not influence, it would also help you as individuals and how you engage society, and so on and so forth. So yeah, hopefully we can talk about some of these issues that you have. I'm interested to find out some of these. Anything else?
Sir, why I'm gonna achieve with my degree, you know, sir.
Yeah.
Because right now, sir, I'm not do my degree for money still, no, sir. But just do it because I end the day, don't have to do it, create a work, you see?
Yes. But what is it that you do in your regular life?
Sir, right now, sir, I'm a loan officer, yeah?
Okay.
And I also operate a non-profit. Like basically a foundation. I try to get register up one thing, and yeah. And sir, the community work.
Okay, very, very good. Very good. That's the kind of stuff that we need in order for us to build generational wealth. You have to do certain things, and sometimes society not just locally, but globally, is stacked against certain people. If you are not born in money, it's stacked against people to get to next level, because if they open the door, if the greater access people have, then it limits those with supernormal profit. Because when you study economics, economics is about the allocation of limited resources amongst unlimited wants, desires. And depending on the economic system that a society has, will determine the allocation or the distributive mechanism, or how resources are distributed. And sorry, not even how resources, how wealth are distributed. And not only that, the value that we place on certain things will determine wealth, position. When you look at the Caribbean today, and the industries that thrive, and the gains that the Caribbean get from those industries, then it will help you to understand the position of the Caribbean in relation to everywhere else, the position of Black and brown people in relation to everywhere else. Again, when we study Caribbean thought, we're studying not just diverse currents that have come to shape the Caribbean, okay, but also how the Caribbean, what we are today, and what has created that position. And it is important for us to understand it, so that we don't make the same mistakes as we go into the future. Okay, we have to be able to take advantage of AI technology and so on and so forth. But the Caribbean was not supposed to rival its former masters. So the independence that we have inherited, okay, lends itself to mediocre development and growth, and to a society that is so divided. But we'll talk about that later.
Sir, before you speak one mistake, sir, since you said that, sir. Sir, yes. Even in regards to 80, I see something happen to 80, sir.
Yes, 80 got independence in 1801, 1802, whatever the case is. But when they got independence, nobody recognized their independence. France did not recognize their independence. The US did not recognize their independence. The UK, Spain, the main countries did not recognize their independence. Why?
Of course, sir, sir, is it because it was a Black nation? Because when he had the name Toussaint, I remember exactly.
Oliver Toussaint led the revolt against French and Napoleon, and they won. Yes. But of course, sir, if these countries recognize, Haiti is what? The first Black nation that had a successful slave revolt. What message would that send to all the other Black countries? Okay, so they did not recognize their independence, one, and they turned around and levied against them a debt. They said, well, you have to pay a debt of billions of dollars in order for us. And it took Haiti years, and for years they struggled to pay. So then I asked the question, was Haiti truly independent?
Never.
Secondly, you saw the issue of debt. They got independence, but you know what they did? They said, okay, you have to pay this money. Haiti couldn't pay that at the time. They never had the money. They had to pay France millions, which was billions. Maybe at the time it was probably $1 trillion, but it was billions of dollars. I can't remember the exact figure. I have it somewhere written down. But later on in this course we'll get to it. Billions of dollars. So they had debt hanging over them. Now, this same issue of debt is as if the UK, the US, and these countries learned, the people who are part of what I call the Washington Consensus. The Washington Consensus is part of the bureaucratic phenomenon which began before the 1940s, but yes, after World War II had ended and all the countries met in Bretton Woods in 1944, they created a new world order. A new world order. And part of that new world order involves the Caribbean and what the Caribbean would be. Part of that new world order talked about the re-establishment of Israel in Palestine, which that's when Israel and Palestine start to have conflict again, because there was no conflict between Israel and Palestine for years until 1947. Okay, and the reason, and of course, Israel went to Palestine under this agreement because, of course, the powers that be did not have any control over the East or over that part of the world. So, of course, great. We go back. We send Israel. We get some Jews and we send them back to Israel, or wherever, if they were Jews or I don't know, whatever they are. They send them. Well, let me not say. Okay, fine. Let me not say that. I don't want to influence you guys. Some people who are said that they were Jews went back to Israel, and they justify their invasion or their occupation or colonization. When I use words, I use a lot of pun. I use words in a very provocative way. So you might hear me say something. I'm doing it deliberately to evoke a certain response. Okay. So I said to you, Israel went back to the Palestine, to Jerusalem, and created a whole nation again. But in order to do so, it was an invasion, an occupation. There were people there before. Just as how Columbus came to the Caribbean, and there were people here before, yet they call it a discovery. We're going to talk about that. I don't want to delve into it too much. Lancelot, I won't talk about it too much. We're going to talk about that. Was it a discovery or a theft? Look at what's going on in the world today. Russia is invading Ukraine. You know why? Part of the reason, Russia, please remember then, all these other countries, Poland and so on, they were part of USSR, Soviet Union. They all get independent and they were broken up. However, Russia was the mother country. But what's going on? When these countries got independence, they weren't supposed to rival Russia's wealth. So Russia has a problem with that. So Russia now has invaded Ukraine so as to reassert their dominance. Yes? Haiti, when they got independence, they weren't supposed to be a powerful country. They were black people and what we know about. So of course, what they use debt. And the point I'm making here is the issue of debt and how they put a huge debt over Haiti's head, which prevent them from ever paying. So until they were able to pay off the debt, they are still French. They are still French colony in a sense. You see what's happening you see what's going on in the Caribbean today. By the way, the same thing happened to Togo. We'll talk about Togo later on. And you look at what's going on in the Caribbean with structural adjustment. Structural adjustment. Structural adjustment is a very important term, a very important policy that we're going to have to contend with in this class. Yes, we thought, I just said, is the class about history? No, it's not just about history. It's about the present reality stemming from historical strategy. Strategy. We talk about the issue of strategy is very important. I go to Georgetown University and I study strategy as a doctoral candidate. Strategy. When you start to look at the archives, strategy was the way in which we look at the world today. Strategy there was strategy behind that. We talk about Mutabaruka saying God is a creation. And for years I grappled with that. What do you mean by God is a creation? He's talking about what ideas about God is created by the human mind based on our limitations of self. Not that God is not beyond man, but any ideas we have of God comes from our limitation of self. Can we accept that? Anyways, we'll delve into that some later on. But when we look at society, we are studying the socioeconomic position. So we're looking at political theory. We're looking at history. When you look at the issue of structural adjustment is very important. Rameshwan Sawan from the University of the West Indies, Caville, wrote a book, The Challenge of Structural Adjustment in the Caribbean. And he says that part of structural adjustment was to transfer hands. Wasn't about reordering the Caribbean so that they become competitive and bring them in part of the globalized world in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. No, it meant the continuation of this dominance, weak transferring decision making, because ultimately, by the Caribbean locking themselves into structural adjustment policies where they accept money on based in conditions that ultimately mean that they were tied to doing certain things, and of course for years they couldn't pay back these monies, and so they and in the end you ask the question, who ruled these countries? It is as if in the 1960s and 70s they learned from Haiti and France. The same way that Haiti was indebted to France, they created structural adjustment in the 1960s after World War II to ensure that they maintain a particular dominance, couched and call it globalization, and use structural adjustment through giving loans to these countries and say they are trying to develop, to spur on economic development, when that was not the case. We will delve into that. Okay. We will delve into that. So yes, so Lancelot, thank you for asking that question. I'm happy that you asked that, because that's one of the issues that we will delve into. Anybody, did you answer the question that I asked, by the way? Did I ask your question? Oh yes, you didn't answer it. I'll give you the answer later on. But thank you so much.
Problem, sir.
Powerful. I like it. Powerful. Who's next? Who is next?
Can I go next, sir?
Yeah, man. Yes, Adrian.
So like Jamaica.
Yeah, man. I'm Jamaican. Okay, fine. I've been living in the US for over 15 years, and I actually never traveled to Jamaica during the 15 years I was studying and doing research and traveling between Cayman and so on. But yeah, I went back recently, and somebody said, "Wow, you're Jamaican sound American." I'm like, "What?" I was insulted.
Stay away too long.
Yeah, man. But may I get it back? May I get it back though? May I get it back? Right?
Yeah.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that, Adrian. Go ahead. Yeah, man.
Not a problem. I'm Adrian Barrett. First year student doing theology.
Okay.
Self-employed from Spanish Town.
Another self-employed. What do you do in your self-employment position?
We do LPG, the gas, LPG gas. We do that.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and what I hope to achieve with my degree when I finish it is the people that I serve in my church. I'm from the Church of God 7 Days Spanish Town. The people that I serve hope to impact their life with whatever I've got from JTS. So
that's good.
Yeah. So that's about it. What's the next question, sir?
What it is that or did you say what you hope to get from this particular class?
Okay, from this particular class, I hope to know much more about the Caribbean in the diaspora. Want to know much more about what's happening in the Caribbean and how we can maybe make a change or impact what is happening, and and all of that.
Wow, that's good. I'm happy that you said that. That's very good. Yes, we will delve into the issue of corruption. We will delve into across the Caribbean and in the Pan-African world. We will talk about what's going on in other parts of the Caribbean in terms of Haiti, DR, Cuba, Martinique, Antigua, and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis. We will look at each of these Caribbean islands and how they differ and how they are similar. So yeah, we will have some. We won't probably have time to delve into them. Part of that will come from your external reading, but we will begin to provide the kind of focus that and really delve into some of these Caribbean islands. The class will also be the class will challenge your thinking. Do not come to the class thinking we are at the collegiate level and we are doing critical thinking. Critical thinking will challenge you, but I always tell students, I used to teach apologetics, and apologetics is the use of logic to defend the faith. And I always tell my students, never be afraid. When I used to teach this course, about 15 years ago, I taught this course, 20 years ago, sorry. I taught apologetics, and I always tell the students, never be afraid to engage in conversation or to have dialogue with people about your faith and about what you believe. It's very important. Some people say, well, I'm afraid to have these kind of conversations because I'm afraid that I may change my mind. I'm like, well, I mean, you are afraid of changing your mind, so you're not going to have, that means you are not being true to truth. Okay? If people are afraid of having discussion because they don't feel like they are prepared to provide answers. But the thing is, we have to, that means we have not reached to a conclusion yet in our own journeys. We shouldn't be afraid because that's part of life. It's about finding things that, say, for example, there was one before the Renaissance and Reformation, it was always believed that the earth was flat. And if anybody who went against the science at the time that says the earth was flat, and the science at the time was really religious science, because it was flat because the society that we lived in, the civilization, the dispensation that we lived in was one that appealed to God more than anything else. The arbiter of all truth was God. The arbiter of all truth is anything religious, was the Christian church or the Catholic church before the Renaissance and the Reformation. And that's very important, just so you know. The Catholic church was very important. And the Renaissance Reformation helped to break that. But if you oppose the Catholic Church, if you say the earth was round, that's challenging truth, and you are burned to the stake. Okay? You are burned to the stake. Society locked you into a particular truth, the church, because you see, once you begin to question that the science that says the earth is round, and then you're questioning the authority. Once you question the authority, then that authority eventually starts to lose its authority, its reputation, its value, its power. Power was important to the church. Power was important. So therefore, but anyways, eventually we found that through science and technology, and or maybe it could be that the people it could be that religion was opposed to the goals of the capitalists, of the elites. And so now the elites found another way to appeal to authority so as to maintain their position and their dominance. I mean, that's a perspective that we could, that's something that one may explore. We're going to talk more about that. But it's very important. So then you start, that's part of what we talk about in this class. It's very important. So then, therefore, I say to you, it's very important for us to remember, we said that Kant said that history is a result of the varieties of human natures and circumstances. One guy says, oh, history is for the future. People live today, men in the future make sense of today. Now, and we develop certain system to come to conclusions about what is based in human natures and circumstances. And and of course, human natures, we have this drive to stroke our own egos. Yes, this drive to glorify. The Greeks glorify their warrior gods, while the Jews talk about this. I'm sorry, while the Gentiles and so on talk about this, the hero, but don't look at a warrior like he. They look at the hero as salvific and sacrificial. That is why the Jews never liked Jesus, because they appealed to Achilles, the god that's told by Iliad. Okay. While there are those who may appeal to something else, but I said to you, history is a result of the varieties of human natures and circumstances. But anyways, so those are some of the things that we put into perspective in this course as we consider all things. Who is next? But of course, you didn't get the answer right, but we'll get to it. Who is next?
Hi, good night, sir.
Hey, Kenyatta, what's up?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Awesome. So, good night, everyone. My name is Kenyatta Barnaby. I am a third year student going into my fourth year, beginning August, September. Um, Program is social work. I'm Jamaican, but I currently reside out of the country. Sir, I didn't remember. I don't remember the question.
Where are you, if you don't mind us asking?
I currently reside in Canada.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good. What do you hope to get from this course, and what do you hope to do with your degree?
As it relates to this course, I'll just say what I said to a friend of mine when I was talking about this course earlier, was that I want to get an understanding of my Caribbean African background, and to see if I can at least have somewhat of an answer as to why persons of my skin color are so hated across the
Oh, wow, this is deep. That's good. And that's a very
world.
good. I'm happy that you said that, because indeed, if it's one thing that this course does, it's what you have just said. We will delve into that, because I talk about the fact that we are hybridized people, mixture. Okay. Yet I am doing research that looks at attitudes towards Afro-Caribbean beliefs. I actually did an interview recently, a Canadian show, on a Canadian show. You might know this show. You might watch it. This Afimi History. Do you watch This Afimi
Oh, yes.
History?
I have seen it advertised a few times. I've seen a few clippets, but I've never taken the time to sit down
I
and
was
go
on
through.
there. I was on there 3 weeks ago. They invited me to do a interview. They interviewed me, and I talked about the research and attitude. And we're doing research. I'm happy that you're in this quiz, because we're looking at that. But I said some time ago, when in 2006 I was in the US. I was ordained by the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, but I was an exchange student in Missouri one time. I was a camp counselor, and these people couldn't understand why in 2006 in Missouri, if you understand what Missouri is, they couldn't understand why you're not why you don't have dreadlocks. Why you're not Rasta? And I'm like, it's quite interesting that when I'm in Jamaica, Rastafarians, I mean, growing up, Rastas, you always look down on Rastas. They were dirty. You know what I mean? My parents didn't like Rastas. Then you come to the US and you're in Missouri, and they're looking at you like, why you not Rasta? Why? The very thing that you disdain, the very thing that you disdain. And if you are a conservative Christian and grew up in a traditional context in Jamaica, of course, there are certain people talk about fringe. What is the fringe culture? Or Afro-Caribbean. Anything Afro-Caribbean or indigenous to us, whatever, we look down upon it. Of course, we said that when you define the Caribbean, what is the Caribbean today? The Caribbean is an invention, and we have still hold on to our European influence. And if you can't speak and your position is dependent on how your ability to speak the Queen's or the King's English, we have still hold on to that Europeanness. If the closer you are to the more assimilated you are, is the more embraced you are. Yes, Kenyatta, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just saying that I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yes.
It's a conversation I have ever so often whenever I go into different spaces here. Here in Rastafarian, where can I go to Jamaica? Like it's always questions like that, and then there's also the flip side where um there are times I, as you know, the multicultural um community here.
Yeah.
What shocked me the most was when I moved here, um, the my interaction with persons who are from various African continents, um, questioned why we refer to ourselves as Africans. We're from the Caribbean, and they couldn't understand, or they didn't understand the history. For example, I have a colleague who is from Kenya, and I
Yes.
also have a colleague who is from Nigeria. And it was in a conversation, and someone, a member of the board of the organization, said, "Oh, no, let's, something was said, but it was referred to African community." And
Yes.
when I responded and I finished speaking, my colleague from Nigeria said to me, "But you're not African. You're from the Caribbean. You're Jamaican. So why do you claim the African name?" I don't claim the African name. We are African. Don't you? Aren't you aware of your history with with colonialism? And he was like, "Oh, but that was years ago. Like the DNA would have basically disappeared." And I said to him, "Not really."
Well, I
And
mean, DNA never disappears.
never disappears. But what my response to him was, "Not really. But why do you think that?" And I remember I found this video on YouTube that um spoke about the different group settlements in Jamaica from the different African continents, particularly Nigeria.
Yes.
And he was super shocked. Like he was like, "Kenyatta, are you sure this is correct?" I said, "Yes, this is correct." And then I have another colleague of mine who was very shocked that I had a full or that I have full tribal Kenyan name. And when I explained to him that my grandfather traveled across the seas to both America, England, and then settled in Jamaica because a Tree woman, that he found that nurse, came to Kenya to do relief work, got married to her, moved to the US. Found another woman, got divorced, moved there, and then eventually settled in Jamaica, which
Yes.
where I am first, right, not basically first generation born Caribbean Jamaican, African Caribbean Jamaican. So
You know. Yeah.
the persons were very puzzled as to why. Like, you're from the Caribbean, you're not African. So, that conversation exists
Yes.
um, as well. So, but then also interacting with other groups here. So I can literally walk on a bus, and just because of the color of my skin, I sit very comfortably.
Yes.
As persons are going to walk away. So, this class, I hope, and I'm listening to you when I signed in, I hear the different things that like the different areas that we should look forward to in conversation for this class. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so like I'm in the right place. This sounds like definitely something I definitely going to learn something from, and I don't just need to just show up, do the bare minimum. Yes, I'm
Yes.
going to really
Definitely
move
no.
on.
This class is not.
But this
Yeah.
this can give me a sense of maybe this is something. It gives me some sort of understanding as to why we are so hated because of the color of our skin, and as well, why is Jamaica so loved?
Yes.
Yes,
And why we hate ourselves.
there you go. Especially the
Why
color
we
of our
hate.
skin. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
As well as I also mentioned that what I wanted to do as well as a social worker in training, I'm not just continuing a legacy of my family being in the social service profession, as well as I want to be able to continue making impact from a different angle. I'm going to use angle of society as it relates to our populations. I've worked with different groups, stemming from persons who are living with HIV, persons who drug use and abusers. I've worked with persons who have mental health challenges. And I've also worked in resettlement as it relates to youth and gang, teens, and the different challenges that they face as well. I currently work as a human rights manager and I work predominantly with refugees.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I am looking forward to reading your hearing your insights in class, reading any papers that I'm going to ask you to write, because it would be great to hear what pertains in, because I talk about, as a Caribbean people, not only should we think about what's going on within the Caribbean, but the diaspora people within the Americas, outside of the Caribbean, is very important. They're part of the Caribbean and the experience. I talk about the issue of cosmopolitanism and what the people within, our identity within and our identity without. Within and without is important, but when we say within, we're talking internal, without external to the, okay. We talk about, you'll hear me talk about Dottie Bookman. Dottie Bookman is from Senegambia. He came to the Jamaica in the early part of the 1700s. He was very skilled at a very intelligent slave, very skilled in the Quran, could read the Quran. Now, please remember, we were told that Africans, when they never had any religion, and if they do have a religion, it was cannibalistic or animistic or something of the sort. But part of the justification for enslaving Africans in Africa and to bring them to the Caribbean, and of course, if we study the transatlantic, we already know that when you study the transatlantic, many of the people who came to the Caribbean came from Africa, various parts of Africa, from the Jamaica and some of the Caribbean, West Indian islands, is from Senegambia and Ghana, some from Nigeria. But even within Africa, there was a lot of movements in Africa, just so you know. And because of the way in which the Africans came to the Caribbean, where the Europeans made certain that that the Africans were split up in different tribes and so on, so as to ensure that they were unable to come together and to put up any effective resistance. So you find that part of the history has been very difficult to delineate. However, the Africans were very good at keeping some of their heritage alive. Where some people today can trace their heritage all the way back to Africa. Okay, but it is in but so there is no doubt. I mean, I've heard the conversation, Lancelot, people saying that, oh, why are you called? I mean, you can be. Why are you calling yourselves African? You're Jamaicans. I mean, in terms of when you're talking about any cultural heritage, part of cultural heritage involves tracing one's descent, one line. Okay, the reason why Israel was able to be Israel again, okay, was because they appealed to something historical. All over the world, black people that comes from that comes from Africa, or call Africa the motherland, who appeals to Africa. What is wrong with that? The Jews still appeal to Israel and the Jews, and I said to people, that's why it's important to study subjects like Caribbean thought. That's why it's very important for Caribbean people to write their own history and nobody else write it for them. That is why it's very important for us to study our histories, because our history is very important because it helps us to reclaim anything that was stolen from us as well. That's another important part of heritage and studying this kind of history. Because as I said again, Israel became a nation again and they justified their occupation of parts of Palestine by appealing to something historical. After the Jews left Israel, they were considered Jews, were they not? They weren't living in Jerusalem, but they still considered Jews. So, I mean, we could have asked the question, why you still call yourself Jews? I mean, I said that's what I ask people sometimes when they question me. Now, there are those who say African Americans, and they call black people African Americans, but other people Americans. Now, there are some people use it as a way to continue to tell the black people here that, oh, please don't think of yourself as Americans, okay, all right, because they want to continue to to appeal to their secondariness in a sense, or want to appeal to their foreignness. So black people, they're not really Americans. They are African Americans. But when they talk about white people, they don't say white Americans. They say Americans. So of course, so there is on the other side of that, there are people who would call certain people in the Americas African American, and there is a strategy behind that. Okay, so as to continue to facilitate the foreigner, or the exoticism of a certain group. Okay, go ahead.
No, sure. I would say it is the same thing as same mechanism as divide and conquer, segregation.
Yeah. Yes. So there are two ways of seeing that. So in one sense, yeah, we are African Americans because you want for an issue of, if you talk about reparation is important. Is in part of the reason why we can claim reparation is because we still pay homage and can claim our African Americanness. The fact that we are part of the transatlantic, that we are part of the experience of the transatlantic. Okay, and that's part of the reparation is about that. But there is a strategy to deny and to negate, and to say that, well, we don't know who to give reparations to. We don't, okay, and to deny certain claim against your certain position if you can appeal. And they say, well, you can't really appeal to. So there are those who would quick to call you African Americans, but then there are those who are quick to deny your African Americanness on the basis of a history of trying to either gain a benefit or deny a benefit. So that's important. But of course, when you start, well, one of the persons we're going to study in this class is Dr. Bookman, Duttybukman. Dr. Bookman is very important when we start to study Obia, and when we start to look at Afro-Caribbean beliefs. He's a very important figure who gave the French a lot of trouble, but he came from Senegambia to Jamaica. And then by 1776 or something of the sort, he escaped on a ship, found his way to Haiti. And he was instrumental in helping to influence and also, well, he caused the first Haitian revolt and influenced all other Haitian revolts and started congregations and so on and so forth. So when people can say whatever they want, that's why it's very important for you to now use this particular course to develop your thinking, to develop the conversation, to develop your logic, okay, and to also provide a lucrative response as you live your life and as you empower others. So this is a very important course for that. So this is good. But by the way, did you get the answer? The answer that I'd asked, the answer was, why is you a frying pan? Did you get that, Kenyatta?
No, sir.
Did it? Okay, you don't know the answer?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll get it. We're gonna stop at 9 o'clock, and those persons who haven't introduced themselves, you will get to introduce yourself next week, and then we will begin delving into the syllabus. So this first week,
sorry, you said 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock? Which one?
8 o'clock. Sorry, because my plan was to let you out. I don't want to go 3 hours this week. So we will stop at 8 your time, Jamaica time. Okay. So we have just about 7 more minutes to go. So who is next? And then next week we will finish up. Friday we will finish the introductions. By then we will be able to identify a group leader and finish the syllabus. And then the following week we will delve into the lecture. Okay, but who is next? Who's next?
Good night, sir.
Avril, Scarlett. That name's ring a bell. Do I know? Are you related to Reverend Scarlett?
No. I know Reverend Scarlett. We're not related.
Okay. Reverend Scarlett. I know Reverend Scarlett very well. He was an ordained minister in the United Church with me. We served together. But yes, go ahead.
All right. So you said Avril, I say Avril.
Sorry.
That's finished for April. Listen, you're fine.
All right, Avril.
But I'm going to pronounce my name, right? So I'm going to pronounce it
Come on.
correctly. Avril Scarlett. I am currently residing in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. Going third year theology student. I am a financial controller. What else? What do I wish to gain from this course? Really, I'm really most interested in the contemporary relevance. I want to look at the issues in the Caribbean, such as migration. I came here 2012. You are also in the US studying for your doctoral thing. So globalization, all of that.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
Personal growth and awareness, just to really increase my awareness in issues related to like identity, power, resistance, resilience. You spoke earlier about Hispaniola. I'm really fascinated by that because I work for a company we have real estate in Dominican Republic. I work for a sugar company that has real estate in Dominican Republic, and there's always this divide between Haiti and Dominican Republic. So I'm really fascinated by that island, Hispaniola. So you've whet my appetite. So personal growth and awareness, the contemporary relevance, and also because I'm here, the global and diasporic perspectives. So I'm really, really most interested in those areas. And for theology.
Yes. Very good. Yes, we definitely gonna delve into those. Very good. Yes. This is the class for you. Continue. Sorry.
And and I'm a critical thinker and I'm going to challenge a lot of what you say. I've read some of your stuff on neoliberalism, so I kind of know where your thoughts are on certain things. So that, and then for theology, honestly, in 2015, I was at JTS in 2015. I stopped because of a lot was going on at the time. So I stopped and then I started again because I promised that I really love God. I want to understand the word for myself. I went through a phase where religion seemed pretty oppressive and I couldn't understand this God of which many people spoke. And so I wanted to study, I wanted to learn the language, the Greek, the Hebrew. I wanted to see in that culture, in that context, what did it mean? How do we interpret it for ourselves? Not really to exegete, not really to preach, but really for I'm using it now as, my pastor would have me bring message and so on, and then I'll have my little women's group. But the main reason for this degree is to better myself, to really walk worthy of my calling. I have a degree in finance already. I have a degree in. This is just a part of my spiritual journey and how I can be myself and better walk worthy of my calling. So that's it.
Powerful, powerful. And by the way, do you have any comments on the answer for the question?
Absolutely. I thought about it metaphorically. And because when I think about the shape of Europe, right, the geography, it resembles a frying pan. And when you look at it, the handle kind of points towards Asia, right? And you said frying pan, but culturally it's a melting pot. I mean, I lived there. So when I think of the frying pan and the various ingredients, and about the diversity in Europe, I thought about that, but I'm not sure. But that's where my mind went when you said it.
All right. Wise you up like a frying pan. Okay, very good. You know what? You are close. You are close to the answer, but I won't give it to you.
All right. Okay.
I won't give it to you. Very good. Yes. This course I studied, I give God thanks for the things that He has exposed me to in my life. I studied Greek, studied Hebrew. But it is for you guys to come into your own. And I hope I can facilitate that. And I am never the more so profoundly faithful and so resolute in my faith. And that's all I'm going to say. I've never been so resolute in my faith. Elon Musk sent an email. I I help to do community notes as well. But Elon Musk sent an email, and I knew he wanted me to respond. He wanted me to respond. I respond to a lot of his stuff. But he asked the question about, maybe you guys were on Twitter. Do you believe that Jesus died for all our sins or something? Or do you believe yes or no? That's it. I wish I could find it. Let me see if I could find it quickly, because I know where. Oh my God, I only have a minute. But don't go, guys. Let me just say this one thing, so that you can get to know your professor a little bit more. But if I could bring it up, give me 1 second. I'm trying to find it. Bring it up, Ronaldo. And then we'll wrap up here, and then we continue next week. But let me see if I can bring this up for you guys. He asked a question, a very important question, which we're going to end class with. And then I'm going to give you the answer. We are almost there. I have to go through a lot right here. Oh no, that's not it. But anyways, and I want to share the response, and then I guess next week we can talk about it. Here we go. Do you believe Jesus Christ died for our sins on May 19th, Elon Musk? Do you believe Jesus Christ died for our sins? A, yes. B, no. And I don't know, I got hundreds of thousands of views, but I said, I, Renaldo McKenzie, choose to believe that he did. For that is the lens I use to connect with the ultimate. That is the lens I use to connect with the ultimate. But I also accept that history is a result of human natures and circumstances. And nothing is by nature or by chance. Nothing is by nature or by chance without human interference in all their limitations. Now, I mean, you guys can pick whatever you want to pick out of that, but I responded by saying, yeah, the question, in a sense, I don't answer the question. In a sense, I did. I said, I choose to believe that he did. For that is the lens I use to connect with the ultimate. But I also accept that history is a result of human natures and circumstances. But when you can accept that when you begin to read and to study and to explore. So, I said to one of the students in the last class, I grew up in the V.T. Williams Church, Jamaica Evangelist, before I transitioned into the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. But I noticed that when I was studying at the seminary, it was a problem. Please remember, now we talk about privilege, power, and position in society. I'm doing another study. It's called The Foundations of Knowledge and the Hegemony of Faith. Let me say it again. The Foundations of Knowledge and the Hegemony of Faith. And I'm always saying this, that history is a result of what? The varieties of human natures and circumstances. And then next week or week after next, I'm going to do a presentation talking about an introduction to Greek mythology, looking at the theogony of Iliad and and so on and so forth, going all the way up to Jews for Jesus and Jews not for Jesus, Jews for Jesus and Jews not for Jesus, because there was contention at the time, and the competition, and how we have franchised the gospel based on the capitalistic system that borrows from the Greco-Roman history of privileging themselves over others. So yes, part of my understanding has helped me to do some studies and some digging to understand, God manifests himself to individuals in many different ways. Now, what men have done is what we say that they have done. They have created institutions, according to Michel Foucault, and then institutionalized that knowledge. But please remember that human beings, we like to stroke our own egos. And again, we are looking at privilege, power, and position. Now, please remember, I'm not delving into these issues. I'm whetting your appetite. I'm deliberately doing so that when you go home, you have all of these ideas popping out in our heads, and then we're gonna address them in a very coherent and systematic way from this class. in the meantime, we're going to watch a film, Life and Death. Life and Death is a powerful film that I hope you get a chance to watch. We're going to mention people like Rex Nettleford and Edith Clark that looks at the organizational dynamics of the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica, and they looked at a particular community. If you guys studied sociology before and you looked at Edith Clark and Caribbean family life, they make certain assumptions about Caribbean family life based on a European understanding which has been exposed to Caribbean people. We're going to talk about that, okay? And whether or not they got it right, whether or not their conclusions were right. We're gonna have several guests coming to the class. Father High Bishop Joseph, who is an Episcopal priest. We're gonna have members of the Urban Indian Heritage Society coming to the class to talk about Caribbean heritage from the urban Indian perspective, talking about the misclassification and the reclassification of Black people as Black people but ignoring any connections they have with their urban Indian heritage. Okay, so it's quite interesting. But we will stop here, guys. Oh, by the way, the answer to the question is this. Are you ready for the answer to the question? Before we get out of here. Why is Europe like a frying pan? Why is Europe like a frying pan? Anybody know the answer? Why is Europe
grease at the bottom of it?
Okay, you are looking at the answer. Who said that?
No, sir, because the answer.
What's the answer?
After Avril said what she said, that's what gave me the clue.
Avril, are you there? Avril, I think she had to leave. Okay, but we're gonna stop the class. Yeah, she had to go, but we're gonna stop the class here. And yes, that is the answer. Who said it?
Jelaine Robinson.
Jelaine, very good, very good.
Thank you.
All right. We will pick up several of you we didn't get to meet, but we will pick up from where we left off because I want all of you to introduce yourselves. And then after that, we're going to look over the syllabus and then we'll begin. Now, the textbook for this course is Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty, and Resistance. That's just one of the texts. And if you go on the syllabus, if you have not received the syllabus, please send me an email, or if you have problems accessing JTS online, renaldo.mckenzie@jts.edu.jm. Okay, and send me an email, and we'll talk about that. We need a group leader in the class because it's going to be a very big class. Okay, and we have a lot of material to cover. You won't be overwhelmed. You all will pass the course as long as you attend the class regularly. If you cannot attend the class, let me know. You cannot come to the class ahead of time. You are not allowed to come to class and abruptly leave before the class has ended without giving me prior notice as well. You won't have a lot of assignments in this class, but I will give you 1 or 2 reflections to do just to complete it as a part of what is important in terms of getting your understanding to a particular level. When we discuss issues in the class, I would love for it to be discussed within utilizing the rules of academia. I don't want us to just talk flippantly about things, but I want us to appeal to theories. See, for example, we're talking about why Mark Golding should be removed as. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Why Mark Golding's citizenship poses a problem.
Dual citizenship.
Sorry?
Dual citizenship, right?
That's what you're talking about. Dual citizenship. Yes. Why it poses a problem. We should be able to have an academic conversation about that, not one from the streets. Okay. One where we can use the principle of logic. Why we say that his dual citizenship should be concerning to Jamaicans, how it poses a problem as it relates to him paying homage to the Queen while we are at the same time, the monarchy, while we are at the same time trying to get rid of the of the monarchy. And yes, Kenyatta.
Or we can use theory and logic to discuss the first mistake. The
Say
error
it
that you
again.
made, the question that you started to ask and corrected yourself, I'm saying we can use theory and logic to respond to that one.
Right. Okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
want you guys to use theory and logic to respond, appealing to the rules of logic and thought. Why do you believe that Mark Golding should be removed as the PMP as a leader of the opposition, or why he should not? Of course, they are saying that he appeals to the Commonwealth Constitution, but that very same Commonwealth Constitution was inherited from Britain. And when they gave us our independence, it is set up in a way that makes it difficult for us to apply any changes, okay, and for us to get rid of them in a sense because of how we inherited our independence. Um, Appealing to an opposition party where people can also bear allegiances to that very same body that we're trying to get rid of. That makes no sense. How are we trying to replace the Queen and the leader of opposition, who is also a British citizen, or the King, is part of that decision making? And what has he been doing? He has also made it his business to oppose or to stall the process. Of course, I wrote an article about this, and I also said it in a podcast, but it's a brief podcast. But you guys can listen to it if you want. We can have a discussion about that. I hope we get an opportunity to have a discussion about that as well, and something that Jamaica is doing. Recently, the Jamaican government had decided that they were going to have an open discussion about the legalization of obeah. The church inherently objected to it, calling it evil. Of course, why is that the case? I wrote an article about that, but you don't have to read it. But I would love to have a discussion about that in this class. But of course, part of this class will look at attitudes towards.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, where am I find that article? Cause I feel like I read it now.
I will send you some materials, but the neoliberal.com, I think you can also go to the podcast, to the YouTube channel, where we have very fierce conversation about this. And if you go to my ResearchGate page, I talk about obeah, and there was an article in the Jamaican Gleaner. If you type in obeah, something about obeah is there. But what I'll do is I'll have all of these materials and I send that to you throughout the week. Just remind me to do so. Adrian.
Yes, sir. A couple of things before you leave. I didn't get the answer to the question. Why is Europe? Didn't get the answer to that.
Somebody answered it. One of your colleagues answered it. Greece, because Greece is at the bottom.
Okay.
Greece. Notice the word Greece.
Okay. And the next thing, sir.
Because Greece. No, but wait. Let's not mull over it. But you get it though, because Greece is at the bottom. That's why it's called.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
The register, sir. You take the register?
Yes. Once you come to this class, then the register is taken because we record the class. But but actually somebody have to is gonna have to. I have to deputize somebody to help me with all of this. I don't know who's gonna. Usually I have a lecturer's assistant, but I probably won't have one for this. I may probably have to have a lecturer's assistant this semester because of the group. I'm probably gonna have to have a lecturer. But in the meantime, we need a group leader to help with taking the register. So, unless you want to take that, Adrian. Oh, Avril.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Is this the same Avril that was on earlier?
No, that's Avril Scarlett. This is Avril Morgan Avis.
Okay, welcome to the class. Somebody said you couldn't make it, but you are here, so that's great.
I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
That is. Are you part of the So you said you are the group leader?
No, I'm not the group leader at all.
Okay. Okay. Well, tell you what, please create a WhatsApp group if you can. One of you do that.
That was done already, sir.
The WhatsApp group. Kimori have already created the WhatsApp group.
Okay, Kimori, your hand is raised.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Kimori? Sorry.
Sir Kimori. Good evening, sir. Sir, I was just reiterating about the message in the group concerning the group WhatsApp group for persons who have not yet joined to join. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. And if you
I'm having that's why I really didn't introduce myself this week, but I
who is
will
that?
on Sir Kemari speaking.
Okay, don't worry. You guys will all get a chance to introduce yourself. And what I need to work on putting you guys in groups. So I'm going to put you guys in groups. As I said, there are about 25 people in the class so far and climbing. So my cutoff is 30. That's why I did not want to go into the syllabus today. I don't like to repeat myself. So what I'll do is on Friday, after you've introduced yourself, then we can. I really want
to spend. Saying Friday, it is Wednesday.
It seems
Wednesday. I'm so sorry. Huh? What you say?
On a Friday. It seems as if it's your favorite day.
Right.
Friday is my favorite day. It is my favorite day, and actually, my birthday is Friday this month. It's this month. My birthday is this month. It's going to be a Friday. And every time I teach the course, my birthday comes. I always teach on which is, I don't know, for some reason it's the classes. But Wednesdays when I thought we were gonna have the class Friday, Wednesday and Friday, but I keep saying Friday, so sorry about that. But yes. So guys, I think so. You're breaking up. Say that again.
No, sir. I'm saying I haven't had a Friday class since first year semester.
All right. Oh wow. Sorry about that. By the way, so tell you what, do you want me to go offline now and you guys amongst yourself choose a leader, or you guys a group leader, or you guys want to just how you guys want to do it?
Sorry, what did you say? Please repeat.
I need to. Who wants to be? Should I go offline and have you choose a group leader, or do you want to do it another way? How would you like to identify a group leader to help with some of these things?
Well, Kimura always do these things. She knows too.
All right, Kimura. All right, great. We'll talk with Kimura. They said that one student say, yeah, you do these things. So fine. I will talk with you later tomorrow, Kimori. Okay, I'll send you an email. And we can communicate like that. But people who don't, we need an email. Some of you may not be in an email list. Please let me know if you please if I sent some messages on the JTS online Caribbean Thought class. Please go on there, check out all the messages and the notes. Eventually, you're going to see videos start popping up on there. You could also go to you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to Caribbean Thought. There is 2 or 3 lists with a lot of classes and discussions. It's really interesting. If you have problems accessing the book, it's in ebook form, and we may talk about a little bit about that when we start talking about life and death, cinema and globalization, looking at Sid Kitts and Nevis and Jamaica and so on and so forth. That's when we're going to probably delve into the book when we start defining neoliberalism and the bureaucratic phenomenon. Those are the only things you're going to need the book for. The other things about Haiti that we're going to be we'll discuss that in class, and we'll have several guests coming to our class to talk about different issues. All right. Thank you so much, guys. It was such a pleasure having you. This looks like it's going to be an amazing class. I won't keep you any longer. Take care. Let us pray. Lord God, I want to thank you for this opportunity to facilitate this course with amazing students. Open up our brains and our minds to be able to contend with major and serious issues. And Lord God, sometimes these issues may leave people emotionally injured. I come against that. Help us to be able to have dialogue and still have unity, Lord God. Help us to be open and understanding. Some students are going back, traveling back home or en route home. Keep them safe. Some students are still registering for this course. Bless them. I pray that it will be successful. I pray that give these students ideas and wisdom and thought, and just help us to be stronger together as we dialogue and engage each other. We're looking forward to an amazing semester where I am inspired, and help me to be able to inspire them and let them inspire me too, Lord God. Open up our brains to learn new things, new concepts that we've never taught considered. and help me to be able to facilitate an amazing experience so that at the end of the day, the students will be able to be so empowered, so blessed, so challenged, and so moved, so that they can now go and continue to create a better world as we serve the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular always a monopoly. So we tell you thanks, O God. Amen. Okay, guys. Thank you guys so much. For now, as I said to you, I left a piece of homework. I mean, some assignments for you. Check it out on JTS Online. If you can't get it, send me an email. I'm not grading you guys in terms of language and English and all of that. I'm just grading you based on if you go on there and review it and submit something. That's great. I just want to get to know you guys more, and it's my way of getting to understand you where you are. All right. Okay, guys, be easy. You guys can text me anytime, renaldo.mckenzie@jts.edu, or you can, or renaldocmckenzie@gmail.com, or you can call me. My phone number, I think it's on, I don't know if my phone number is on there, but some of you might be able to reach me. No, my WhatsApp is not working properly. It's hacked. So we've been trying to work with Google to get my stuff fixed because, you know, I'm a content creator as well. I deal with a lot of hacking. So we're trying to fix that. So give me about 4 days or 5 days and we'll fix that. I have another job. I do a lot here in the US. Just like Kenyatta, I work with the city of Philadelphia to help run a program, which is called the Philadelphia Treatment Court. I work with the court here and the probation office and with the city to help address people who are affected by opioids. Opioids in Philadelphia is a major issue. A lot of Caribbean people are affected by that too, but opioids is a major issue in Philadelphia. When I mean major, it is major. I'm one of the persons who is responsible for dealing with and helping to address the issue. I just started this new area and it's a lot of work, so pray that I'll do well. So I'm doing this class in addition to my doing the research at Georgetown and at Temple University, and in addition to about to release the second book in the Neoliberalism book series, which will be out by my birthday, June 14th. Okay. And the research, which I want you guys to help me with, so that's why I'm not giving you, you won't have a final essay. Okay. That it's going to be easy for you this semester, but you will still learn a lot. All right, guys. That's it. Take care.
So you're saying that we won't have an exam for this course?
Well, you will have exam, but the final essay is probably a group essay, which is based on something very practical, which I'll tell you about.
Okay.
But
right.
sir,
okay, sir.
Yes,
sir, if it's something that is practical, is it something that we can consider to be done as part of our exams, really?
You know, can I tell you, I wasn't, when I taught this course, I never created an exam, but I'm told that you guys have to sit an exam because of, how the course, how JTS set up this course. I don't have an exam, but they want me to do an exam, so I'll set an exam for you guys. So you have to do the exam, and even no matter how well you do in this course, you have to pass the exam. So it's geared towards an exam. But I'm telling you guys this: based on what I do, you guys should pass the exam. And based on how I do things, when you sit in the exam, nothing should look foreign. You should see questions that you are familiar with, if you know what I mean. If you get my gist, okay? So that's why I don't want you guys to worry about the exam. I don't want you to be locked in on the exam, okay? Because you guys should pass based on how I teach the course and the preparation towards the end, which I do. I will give you something and I will also present it in the class. So you will be fine, okay? All right, guys?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so don't worry about the exam. You will be ready for don't worry, you will pass the exam, okay?
Right,
you will
sir.
pass. So just don't worry about the exam, because as I usually prepare several quizzes, which looks like the exam, okay? So you should be fine. So don't worry about the exam, you should pass. And what I've done, I've kind of diluted the exam a little bit so that it's not overwhelming, because in the past, the students complained that, oh, it was so much, and I agreed it was a lot. So I have adjusted it exam as well, and I prepare you guys based on every question I ask. I will ask you questions, and you hear me ask again, and I will even give you the answer. You will see those questions in the exam, but you will also, I'll ask a quiz, and you will do those quiz, and you'll be ready. So you guys will be fine. The only thing you guys should do for the focus I know is come to class. All right. Now, if you guys want to reach me outside of class, that's my number. I'm available after 5 any day. Okay.